Hi everyone! Today we are going to be learning how to make our own web page or website on CodePen. I'm Hannah, or Miss White from Codemoji, and I'm very excited to walk you guys through this tutorial. So what we see here on the screen already is an example of a page that I have made. It's pretty simple, but incorporates a lot of different HTML and CSS design elements. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to walk you guys through a couple of these different elements of my page, and then we're going to create our own. So here we decided to focus on favorite animals for the theme of our page. Of course, you can do whatever theme you want. For my tutorial, I'll keep to the favorite animal theme though. But for now, what we've got is a header or an H1 tag option. We've got my name sliding across the page. This will be with an interesting tag called Marquee. Then we've got a regular paragraph of text. And of course I could have written more for it, but for the sake of time in our tutorial and just getting the general idea out to you guys, I just wrote a single sentence. And then we've got a picture as well as a button. And when I hover over, we've got some color aspects of our page as well. However, when I hover over my background, you'll see that it changes colors. So you guys will get to do that too. It's very exciting. But for now, we're going to exit out of my page, and I'm going to show you guys how to make your own. So I'm going to go back to dashboard. If you have a CodePen account, you can easily make one. If not, you'll just have to find the Create Pen. I'm logged into mine right now, but we're going to create pen. And so here, now we are in the create mode, and we won't be using the JS option until much later. We'll just be doing that for the button function, but for now, we're just going to keep it between the HTML and CSS lesson buttons. But so here, the way that the screen is set up, and I'll actually change my screen so it looks a little bit better for you guys. I'll have mine set up this way. So here, we'll have sorry, it's weird having to move my face on the screen as well. We will have over in this what's a functional programmer's favorite animal, a lamb, duh, that's funny, section over here. That's gonna be where your web page is shown, so you can see what you're doing and how it correlates to the actual web page. So we're gonna start by programming our page with HTML. HTML, as I like to describe it, is the general formatting of your web page or website. It allows you to insert particular content into your page and organize your page in a specific way. So what we're going to do, all HTML tags or all HTML sections and your website has to start with HTML tags and end with HTML. So here we're going to start with this open alligator or less than sign, and we're going to write HTML. Already spelled that wrong. And you guys can do this however you would like, but for the sake of keeping everything cohesive and so you guys can see how it all correlates, we're going to close out that tag as well. And we'll just add all the contents of our page between those two tags. So to close it out, it's the exact same way that you start this open and close alligator HTML tag, but you're going to have this forward slash to be able to say close out HTML or close out the page. So anything outside of these tags, the HTML and close and open tags will not be a part of your web page. So here, to allow you to actually put content on your page, you're going to want a body. And again, you guys don't have to add the close tags until you're all done, whichever you prefer, but for the sake of this lesson, I will keep adding the open and close tags at the same time. So now we've created a space that we can actually write the text of our page. As I showed in my project, we implemented an H1 tag to allow us to have our title on the page. If you're familiar with the other header tag, that is just denoted as header, as you see here, We won't be using that, as that will only correlate in this type of program. This will only correlate to the URL of your page. So it'll give you a URL, the title, but it won't actually show up on your page. So we'll be using the H1 tag instead of the header tag and the title tag to make our actual title for the page. So the H1 will go inside these body tags. And for now, I'll write wolf, since that's my favorite animal. Again, you guys can do whichever you prefer, but what you'll see over on this white portion of your screen, or as it correlates to your web page, you'll see wolf in big bold lettering, or whichever your title you chose was. So here, we're going to want to add some text to our page, just some regular text about our animal, about our food, hobby, whichever you choose for your web page. So here, to start a section of text, we use paragraph tags. So P, that's just denoted as a P, and then we'll close that tag as well. Oop. And here we'll put a sentence about your theme. So let's say, I love wolves. So once you write a sentence or two or a whole paragraph about your page, you can keep it as that. And so now you can see that the H1 tag, or the title, allows a bigger emphasis on the focus of your page, while the rest of the remaining text in your body will be smaller, unless you denote it otherwise. Now, I also want to add a space for images. And so the image part of this program is a little bit difficult, because you're going to want to have an image already pulled up online, and I'll show you guys how to do that and copy and paste that into your code. But for now, we're going to have IMG, and we're going to close that out with another bracket. But to find that image, we are going to have to use source. So src equals. And then we're going to use over by your return key, not the double apostrophes. It's going to come up as 2, but it's just going to be the single apostrophe. So it will just be that 1, not the 2. But it'll produce 2 at once. So here in this single apostrophe section, the space that it created there, we're going to want to input or paste our image address. So I'm going to go on to just Google right now. So I looked up wolf image. While you're in images, you are going to want to find an image that isn't too big, because you want it to be small enough on your page. But let's say I'll do this one. So I click on it, and we're going to check the size of it. That looks a little bit too big. We want it kind of below 1,000 by 1,000. Right now, this is 1,900 by 1,900. So we're not going to use that one, unfortunately, just for the sake of this tutorial. There are ways that you can change the size of your picture, but we'll use one that's smaller, just for time's sake. So here we've got a picture that is below 1,000 by 1,000. I'm going to double click or right click on that. Depends if you're using a mouse or a laptop pad. If you're using a mouse, right click. If you are using a laptop pad, you're going to use 2-finger click and hold, and then drag down to copy image address. You don't want to copy the actual image, you just want to copy the image address. So once you've done that, you're going to go back to your page, and you're going to paste that into there with Command V or Control V, whichever works on your particular PC or Mac interface that you're using. So now we can see over in the right-hand side of my screen, our website viewer, we see that I have the image of the wolf there, and it's very cool. Everything's all coming together. But before we finish, let's say we want that cool slide across name. So we want your name to be up front and center on your page, and you want people to know this is your page. So as I said, while I was showing you guys my project, is we use a tag called Marquee to have it move across the page. So I'm going to create a marquee tag, and it's going to be spelled M-A-R-Q-U-E-E. And before I close that out, it's going to start moving all my stuff across the screen. Don't stress if it does that to yours. All you got to do is close out that tag, and it won't do it anymore to the rest of your stuff until you put the words that you want actually in there between those open and close tags. And I accidentally put these before my H1 tags. You can do that if you want. However, I would like my title to be the top main part of my page. So I'm going to copy and paste that back here, and let's put my name. So here now we will see my name will start sliding across the screen, which is very exciting. So now we've got a good standing of some content on our page. We've got a title, we've got some text or body through a paragraph tag on there just to talk about our specific page, and then we also have an image there. I know that my page had a button at the bottom below the wolf or below your image. We'll get to that later. We're going to keep all the JS stuff for the very last portion of this tutorial. But now we're going to want to use CSS, which is it stands for Cascading Style Sheet. This is essentially the styling or the aesthetics of your page. This will allow you to change the size of your font, the type of your font, the alignment of your font, as well as the color of your font or the color of your background. So we're going to start with the background color. And what we can do with that is our background is all denoted by body. So that whole white space that we see is encapsulated in the body tags. So we're going to type body, and this will allow us to change our background color. And we're going to do, in these up by your return key, there's going to be these sort of, I'll show you the bracket. These are made available by holding down the shift button and pressing on the open bracket. It kind of looks like a curly little guy next to the P. And so you'll press that, and two will come at once again. Most of the times in coding, everything comes in kind of pairs, the starting and ending, or the open and close. And so here in our body, we're going to say color, and we want to denote what color we want as our background. Actually, in this section, or in these brackets, we're going to be using background color. So here we're going to do BACKGROUND, background, dash, which is up by the 0 and the equal. You don't have to use shift for that, it's just the bottom option there. Color, and then you're going to use colon, which is the 2 dots. It's by the L key, and you'll hold down shift to be able to get to that. It's not this one, which is the lower. You're going to want to use the double dots, or the colon. So here we're going to say, let's say I want my background color to be a nice light blue. So coding is very case sensitive. Right now you can see that my background color is light blue. However, if I decided to put a space between the light and the blue, it wouldn't correlate. So you want to keep all of that color together. There's other options. You can do just a simple blue, which is pretty bright, or you can do a dark blue, and this will be very dark. I'm going to keep it nice and light and bright as a light blue. There's a couple different variations. There's violet. You can do other light colors, other dark colors, or just main colors. For right now, I'll be doing this color. So once you've done that, then you're going to finish off that line of code with a semicolon, which is in that same key option as the colon. So once you've done that, we are going to figure out how to do the hover background color so that we can change our background color when we hover our mouse over it. So here we're going to do body again, since the background is encapsulated in the body section. And we're going to do body, colon, hover. So when it hovers over it, when you hover your mouse over your screen, you're going to change the background color. So again, we're going to have those curly Q brackets. And we're going to type background color. And if you guys see on my screen, it says there have been 75 changes. Now it's gone. Without saving, If you want along the way, make sure that you press save. It automatically saves generally for you, but this will allow you to make sure that your project does not crash, or when you leave, want to return back to your project, that everything is still there. So as I just saved that, I'm also going to, in the top left, we're going to name it. I know I should have done this at first. I'm a little bit backwards in my saving, but I would suggest now to save as a specific title. And so here, we're going to click that pen, and I'm just going to type my title of my page so I know what type of page it is, and my name. You can name it whatever you want to keep track of it, but I'll just do that for tutorial's sake. So let's return back to background color for the hover. So now, instead of light blue when I hover over it, I want it to be, let's say I want it to just be white again. Let's have it be simple and just have white. So now, and again, when you close out a line of code, you're going to want to use a semicolon. This keeps your page from crashing. But when I hover over with my mouse, it all returns back to white. So if I go out, hover over, just white. Very simple. You can do whatever crazy colors you want. If you don't want to do either of those aspects, if you don't want to change the background color, no worries at all. So now we're done dealing with the background color. We want to start manipulating that H1 section of your text where the title is. Let's say we really want to emphasize where that title is. So we're going to do section H1 with some more curly Q brackets, and we're going to allow this to be a type of color as well. So we'll have background color, and you guys will see how this coordinates. It's going to show you how the actual H1 space is held. So background color, let's say I want a light, we'll do white. We'll do white again so you guys can see the difference. So here, now if I move my icon screen, you can see when I'm not hovering over, you can see now there is a white section where the title is held. And so my title, I don't really want it over on the left-hand side of the screen. I want it centered. So let's show how we can center text. So here in that same section for H1, we're going to use a semicolon to finish off that line. But we're just going to space, and we can keep it in the same. If you want to do separate lines, that's fine. It's a little bit harder to keep track of for the actual program if you do different sections, so I would say just keep it all as one. But after using that semicolon to finish off the background color line, we are going to type text dash align. We'll use another colon, and I want my header to be in the center. So when I do that, now we can see that my header is in the center. And I'm actually going to change, this is bothering me a little bit, I'm going to change my background color when I hover over it to a light pink instead. So here now, when I hover over it, it's light pink, so you can still see that header space. Now I feel pretty comfortable with my H1 section. However, if I want to actually change the color of my text for my H1 or for my title, we're just going to use the simple color command with a colon, and then I will change that to a light yellow. I'm kind of feeling light colors today. So we'll do a light yellow. Oh, can't see that, so that was not the best idea. So instead, I will go to a violet. So now I've got a nice violet color for my title. So then here, after that, I'm done. I feel pretty confident with my title section. Now I'm going to want to change this section of text on my page. I love wolves because they live in the woods and are very silly. I'm going to want to put that in the center as well. I want all of my stuff in the center. Of course, you can have yours on the right, left. If you want your text aligned on the right now it's always default aligned to the left. If you want to have it on the right, however, you can go to that same text align where I have text align center, you can do text align right. And this will be hidden under my face screen, but here you can see wolf is on the right now. But again, as I said, I would like mine to be in the center. So let's do that. Once we've got that, let's go now to that section of text, I love wolves because they live in the woods and are very silly. That is denoted by our paragraph tag. However, let's just use paragraph tag for now. But say you have multiple sections of, or multiple paragraph tags, because you can have multiple on your page or multiple header tags. I'll show you how to denote and differentiate between those in a second. But for now, we're just going to keep it to one. So that'll just be by P. So P tag, we'll use those open curly braces again. And let's just do, we don't want to change the color of it. You can if you want, but I'm going to do text align, colon, center. So now here, all my text there moves to the center. Now to show you guys, I mentioned that if you have multiple paragraph tags, that it'll get hard to differentiate in CSS, but I'll show you how to do that. So say after I say I love wolves because they're very silly, we'll have that above my image, but after my image, after my image, let me just scroll this down a little bit. After my image, I'm going to want another section of text. So we'll do another open paragraph, and then a close paragraph. Then click in between those and write another section of text. Oh, hold on one sec. Another section of text. So let's say wolves are the best animals. And of course, I'm sure everyone else has their own favorite animals. So you might not agree that wolves are the best animals, but for my web page, I'm saying wolves are the best animals. And so now, if I want, say I don't want that bottom paragraph, that second paragraph tag I made, I don't want that to be centered. I want that to be different. It automatically centers it right now because it's part of that P tag family. But say I want this one, I love wolves because they live in the woods and are very silly, to be centered, and the wolves are the best animals below the image to be on the right-hand side of the screen. So I'll show you how to do that. So in that first P tag, that first line of text here, after where I have marquee, I'm going to do after, or in the open P tag, we'll do a space after the P. We're going to write class. And we'll do equal sign, and then those single apostrophes. And let's say class A. You can do whatever you want. You can do class bubbles, a class number, but I'm going to keep it simple and just use the alphabet class A. And then we'll call this second P tag class B. So once you have class B in there and class A, you're going to want to tell your CSS to differentiate between them. So here, let's, instead of P, we're going to do dot A. And so this will just tell that section A to be centered, or that paragraph classified as A to be centered. Now you can see that my class B section, since I don't have anything about class B in my CSS coding text yet, it's going to automatically default to the left-hand side of my screen because it's no longer bunched into that paragraph family. But again, I said I want my B family, or that second line of text, wolves are the best animals, to be on the right-hand side of the screen. We'll do text align, and we'll do right. So now we've got it on the right-hand side of the screen, and I want to add something kind of fun. You can only see this text when you hover over. So I'm going to make it the same color as our natural background. So we'll do color of text to be light blue. So now it should disappear. You should not be able to see it since it'll blend in with the background, but when I hover over, you can now see wolves are the best animals is right between my, or right below my mouse cursor. So let's say I'm pretty comfortable with where all my text is. However, I still want to align my image in the center. So what we're going to do to allow that is we're going to go back to the HTML box, We'll close out that CSS so I can see more. And before our image open tag, we're going to do open alligator again and a P. And we're going to make this image in its own paragraph section. And so after that last close there for the image, we're going to do the close P. And much the same that we did for the other two sections of text that were in the paragraph tags. So I love wolves because they live in the woods and are very silly, and wolves are the best animals. We're going to classify this as class C. And I'll actually call it class image just to keep it all understandable. But so there we've got that image paragraph section to be called class image. So here on the CSS tab, we'll do dot image, the same that we did for the dot A and dot B. And we'll do text align, and I want it to be centered. So here, again, we're going to want to close this out with a semicolon. I have a couple others that I did not close out with semicolons. For this particular program, it's not too fudgy, but in a lot of programs, if you do not close off your lines of text or lines of code with semicolons, it can cause a whole system crash for your program, so I would suggest just getting used to that. Okay, so now if you look at my page, I'm feeling pretty good about it. I like how everything's going. Let's say I want to now add that button. So I like everything else that's on here, but I kind of want something that allows my users and people visiting my page to be able to interface or interact with my interface. So here in that same HTML section, we're going to close or drag down CSS so we don't see it as much and we have more space to type in HTML. What we're going to be doing now is creating a button. And so to create a button, we're going to go to that HTML section. And after our last paragraph tag, we're going to want this below our picture. So we want it after the paragraph tag with the image. You can do it between the class image and class B, between those two paragraph tags, but for my sake, I'm going to do it here. You can do it at the top of your screen, wherever you want. I'm just going to show you how to do the code for it. You're going to create another paragraph, so another section of content or text. And we'll do just paragraph tag and then close paragraph tag. So here we're going to be using the button on click option. Oh, I spelled button wrong. We'll be using another open alligator bracket. So BUTTON. And then on click. Spelled on click wrong, that's okay. You're going to want to be very careful with your spelling and syntax just because that's where the most errors will come about. And as you can see, I've been teaching this stuff for a while and I'm still making these errors. So we are going to, after button on click, we're going to have an equal sign. And then instead of those single apostrophes we've been using, we're going to use quotes. So you're going to hold down shift and click that same key next to the enter button or return button. And you're going to have now 2 and 2. So in here, we're going to write talk, T-A-L-K, and above the 9, you're going to, or on the same 9 key, you're going to hold down shift, press that, and it gives you 2 half circles. So we're going to have talk, and then after that, we're going to tell it what that button's going to say. So I'm going to say, what does a wolf say? With a question. And you can have it be a question, you can have it be anything you want, but when you click on it, there's going to be a pop-up and it's going to answer that question or have some sort of fun thing. You can say click here if you want to see something funny. But for now, I'm going to say, what does a wolf say? So now that we've got that in our HTML, we are going to actually one more thing, because we don't even see my button yet, and you might be like, where's my button? Before we do that, I almost forgot to put in the open to close out that first button bracket. So now our what does a wolf say is white because it's text in there. And then we're going to do a close button tag. So I'll give you guys a second to look at that and see where I added those errors that I made. So here I added that close brace or close alligator on the button on click talk section. And then I added this close button tag. So now here we can see what does a wolf say is now a button on my page. I can't click it yet. If I click it, nothing pops up. But we got to use some JS for that. Or as it's spelled out, JavaScript. So here, I would like again, let's go to CSS. I would like my button in the center. I like most things centered on my web page. It just looks very clean, but you can have wherever you want. So again, button is embodied in a paragraph, so we're going to edit a new class. So we'll do class equals, and we'll do button, so I can keep track of that. So here, once we've created that class button for our button on click section, we're going to go back to CSS, and we are going to give that button class a text alignment so that it is in the center. Again, if you don't want to do this, that is perfectly fine for yours, or if you want to align it a different way, that works as well. So here we're going to do text align center, and there now my button is in the center. So finally, to close off the last bit of this tutorial, we are going to actually function or give that button a function. So when you click it, it is going to give you a pop-up of what you want it to say. So what does a wolf say? I'm going to have mine say, awoo. Just something kind of fun. You can do whatever you prefer. So here in the JS or JavaScript section, we are going to type function. And our function from earlier was function talk. Sorry, my dog is trying to play right now. We'll do function talk with those same parentheses. And we are going to have another set of those curly braces. And in there, we'll have alert. And then within that alert, we're going to have another set of parentheses. And in those parentheses, there's going to be quotation marks. And here, this is what you want your button to say. So I want mine to say, a woo, kind of like a howling noise for a wolf. Whatever you prefer to put in there, that's what you'll put. So here now, we will see over on my button, when I click it, what does a wolf say? It'll pop up and say, a woo, which is very fun, very exciting. So as a whole, you have just created your own web page. And you can change the view so you can just view the web page. I'll look at full page view. Actually, before we do that, let me save one more time. Again, I'm very bad at saving my work. But we'll change view and we'll go to full page view. And so here, then we can see what we have created. So here, you can see all the different aspects we put together, the header, that marquee, a couple paragraph tags, the image tag within the paragraph, different alignment, different coloring, background, hovering, background colors. All of that together, we created a beautiful web page. And so I hope you guys enjoyed today's lesson. You can do as much as you want, look up a little bit more about CodePen programming, use different tags that you know of. But yes, so this was just a little introductory on how to do this. So thank you.